Tonight, spring storm aftermath.
It was terrifying. It came out of nowhere.
Surveying the damage from what may have been the first tornado of the season. Plus, the mayor's race widens.
And we haven't been, in my opinion, transparent and accountable to the people.
Councillor Susan Stevenson files her paperwork, officially launching her campaign. And traffic turmoil.
That tree over there, that's my third tree that has been replaced due to the accidents.
The calls for calming measures to crack down on cut-through drivers.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an intense weekend storm now under investigation by local tornado researchers. They've been on the ground surveying the damage left behind, which in some cases was severe. Brent Lale reports.
It was terrifying. It came out of nowhere.
Jesse O'Neill was outside next to this barn when the storm came through.
And next thing you know, I see the pallet swirling through the air off into the field, and then I watch the roof of our hay shed fall in front of me.
Saturday afternoon around 4 p.m., the winds picked up. Those in the path off Wonderland Road north of London described a train-like sound and then carnage. Western University's Northern Tornadoes Project is surveying the damage.
The roof landed over there on the other side of the property, and the walls and other pieces of the barn collapsed onto the barn that was right beside it. We'll be looking at all that damage, trying to piece things together, see if we can determine exactly what happened, whether it was a small tornado or maybe a downburst or a microburst.
From there, the path of the storm continued east, where it took out some trees and then flipped this solar panel with a massive cement base.
One of the largest solar panels you can get. It's a pile of metal attached to a concrete base. Literally lifted the base up off the ground. They've got to weigh tons. It's all concrete. You know, when you look at it, it's got some rebar inside to hold it in place, but it's unbelievable.
Jeff Back lives next door. He also witnessed a pickup truck thrown off the road and into the ditch.
I'm assuming some sort of wind or some sort of downdraft grabbed them. It's not a big side piece along the curbs, and down it went.
As the temperatures warm, it's becoming the prime season for these major weather events.
Early to mid-May is a pretty typical time where you might see like our first big storms, big damaging storms like this in Ontario. And so Canada hasn't yet had its first confirmed tornado yet this year, but I expect that'll happen soon.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, some active weather over the weekend. Now, I was just chatting with Dr. David Sills from the Northern Tornadoes Project, and he did say that some of these events are very hard to determine. There was very localized damage in just a few spots. So they are leaning towards a downburst at the moment, but they're still waiting on some video evidence to come in and hoping to have an update later tonight. Conditions across our region on the cool side today. We do have high pressure in place, clear skies tonight, and a frost advisory in effect. Temperature in London on the hour, 11 degrees. As we head further north, between 6 and 10. So clear conditions, and it's getting cold out there overnight. Temperatures across most of the region will drop near the freezing mark and below. With the exception along the shoreline of Lake Huron and Lake Erie, temperatures will hold between about 2 and 3 degrees. Coming up, I'll take you through the extended forecast. We have some cool weather this week, but by Friday, we're going to see a major shift just in time for the long weekend. I'll have all your local weather details coming up in just a few minutes. Carlyle?
Thanks very much, Julie. Well, by pure coincidence, the City of London actually hosted an emergency preparedness event just hours before that storm rolled through. With more on that, here's Lauren Stallone.
5-year-old Liam got the chance to be a real firefighter when he turned on the hose.
Bigger! And that was splashing a lot.
Just a few feet away, dressed in a police costume, Oliver Much pretended to drive an OPP cruiser.
Love coming to see the police car since you're probably 1 year old. You just started walking. And anytime we see one, he's always got to wave and say hello or ask for a high five. So over the years, we've collected many different costumes to wear because he just absolutely adores and wants to be, was it OPP or RCMP you want to be?
OCMP.
However, this event was more than just a touch a truck event. Those in attendance could even speak to officials and get insight on emergency preparedness.
How to be prepared for their family and themselves, as well as their emergency kits for their personal pets they have at home, so that you can be ready for 72 hours during a large-scale event.
This event took place on the final day of Emergency Preparedness Week, and London has had its fair share of disasters, including tornado alerts just hours after this event concluded.
We've had explosions, we've had building collapses, we've had, huge tragedies. Even the Rogers cell phone outage had huge logistics challenges to it, where we spooled up the EOC to try to provide emergency management on the back end. Like, there's so many times that I've been in the Emergency Operations Center watching this professional team execute their training and their plans, so professionally and in great service to Londoners. And that's why we faced really tough challenges in the city, and we've got through all of them together because we have great training and great personnel leading the way.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Provincial police say they're looking for a federal offender wanted for breaching his release conditions. OPP say this is 45-year-old Edward Searing. He had been serving a 3-year sentence for drug trafficking. He's described as Indigenous, 5'10", 250 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. He also has numerous tattoos. According to police, he regularly visits London, Simcoe, and Delhi. Jury members are expected to start deliberating their recommendations tomorrow at the coroner's inquest looking into the London police shooting death of a Sarnia man 5 years ago. With more on the closing submissions, here's Nick Paparella.
As the coroner's inquest wound down, all parties agreed that the police shooting of 29-year-old Justin Barassa of Sarnia was tragic. In the early morning hours of October 28, 2021, London officers had detained Barassa after mistakenly thinking he was involved in a suspected break-in along Richmond Row in the downtown area. The jury heard that Barassa, who had prior interactions with other police services, placed one of the London constables in a rear naked choke, and within seconds he was shot and killed. The lawyer representing the family, Megan Daniel, told the jury to consider de-escalation measures like time, distance, and conflict avoidance, saying, "We spent over a week together examining an interaction that lasted only 80 seconds. She went on, "The Barassa family lost their son. They've spent years trying to understand what happened in the final moments of Justin's life and trying to make meaning from it. Otherwise, they cannot accept his loss." Lucas O'Hara is the lawyer for the two officers involved, Ryan Hendrick, who was choked, and Joshua Ryan, who shot Barassa. He told the jury recommendations have to be based on evidence and reality. This was a rapidly escalating encounter where Mr. Barassa's conduct changed the situation from an investigative detention into a serious bodily harm or death scenario within seconds. Fraser Kelly, the lawyer for the chief of police, told the jury that officers had a duty to stop Barassa that night, saying, "When people choose to become extremely violent with police, sometimes police need to use their guns." The jury heard 14 proposed recommendations from most of those involved. Inquest counsel Phil Choi highlighted several, among them that officers develop scenario-specific guidelines to support de-escalation and conflict prevention in investigative detentions. The coroner's inquest jury is expected to come up with its own set of recommendations to help prevent any future deaths like that of Justin Barassa. Nick Paparella, CTV News.
Chippewas of the Thames Police, along with OPP, say they've launched a death investigation after a body was found inside a burning vehicle southwest of London. This is the area where the burning vehicle was found. Oneida Nation firefighters were called to a vehicle fire early Thursday morning on a property near Jubilee Road and Mount Elgin. Police say they're also working with Ontario's Coroner's Office as well as the Fire Marshal's Office. Sarnia police say they're investigating a fatal crash from last night involving a motorcycle. Sarnia police posted this image on social media showing the crash aftermath. They say it involved a motorcycle and a car just after 9 p.m. on Plank Road. According to police, the 26-year-old man riding the motorcycle was pronounced dead at the scene. Residents in an East London neighborhood are calling for traffic calming measures because of an increase in cut-through traffic. As Brian Bicknell reports, it appears drivers are trying to avoid construction delays, creating other traffic concerns as a result.
The CTV News cam catches car after car after car as drivers appear to roll straight through the double stop signs at Holman Street at Price Street in the Vauxhall neighborhood. And this is what it looked like this past weekend as a pair of vehicles collided, with both ending up on the front yard of a home at the corner. Holman Street resident Todd Stevens says enough is enough.
People run through the stop sign at the end of Brisbane, running right into the houses. There's been 3 accidents down here at Price and Holman within the last 3 months, all requiring emergency services.
He's among a group of area residents demanding traffic calming measures, including speed bumps along Holman Street and a 4-way stop at Holman and Price.
My house has been hit 3 times by vehicles.
Valerie Wald lives at nearby Brisbane at Holman, and the problem became so scary for her that she had a large armor stone installed in her front yard to stop eastbound traffic coming off of Holman Street from hitting her house.
The one accident, the engine block came right to a dead stop right here. Shook my whole house. That tree over there, that's my 3rd tree. That has been replaced due to the accidents. People slide right into that tree, or they come right up on my yard.
Ward 1 councillor Hadley McAllister says the increase in cut-through traffic is from drivers avoiding busy north-south routes like Egerton and Adelaide, along with both Wellington and Highbury, where construction is ongoing. He's put in a request for a 4-way stop at Holman and Price.
But you can actually request stop signs through Service London. So what I'm asking is, if residents really feel that that's the way they want to go, everyone to go on Service London, fill in that request for a new traffic sign, and really, again, it's strength in numbers, so if everyone in the area does it, that'll make our case that much stronger.
In the meantime, residents are calling for immediate action before a child gets hurt.
We have kids here, we have school buses, and people just don't seem to care.
I have 4 young kids, and they're out in the area rollerblading, biking. It's a concern with the amount of traffic that we've got whipping through here.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Emergency responders say one person was taken to hospital this morning after a driver crashed into a building on Warncliffe Road. They say it happened around 9:30 this morning at the corner of Warncliffe and Byron Avenue. The London Fire Department said on social media the building sustained significant damage requiring stabilization. A hold and secure was also put in place at nearby Victoria Public School, which had been lifted by the early afternoon. A new contender has entered London's mayoral race. Councillor Susan Stevenson filed her nomination papers today, taking on incumbent Mayor Josh Morgan in this fall's municipal election. With more on her decision, here's Daryl Newcomb.
I'm here to file my nomination papers, and I'm doing that for mayor.
Susan Stevenson officially launching her mayoral campaign at City Hall. She explains her decision to run for the mayor's office after 3.5 years as a Ward 4 councillor was made after listening to Londoners.
I hear Londoners say they want greater accountability, greater transparency, they want lower taxes, and they want a safer downtown.
And it seems Stevenson's mayoral campaign will, at least in part, look to tap into any public dissatisfaction with incumbent Josh Morgan.
This is a perfect opportunity to look at what happened. Are you happy with it? And if you aren't, just like in sports and in most corporations, when the results aren't there, leadership changes.
The 59-year-old Stevenson spent 25 years as a professional accountant and 5 years in leadership development before being elected to council in 2022.
I would much rather see us as a city do a few things really, really well.
Stevenson has built a reputation for clashing with Mayor Morgan, council colleagues, as well as senior city staff inside council chambers, and says she intends to bring a new vision to City Hall.
We've got taxes that have gone up close to 25% this term, and people are saying, where did the money go? Where are the services? And we haven't been, in my opinion, transparent and accountable to the people.
Stevenson has been the subject of several Integrity Commissioner investigations while on council. In 2023, she received a reprimand for posting pictures of homeless people on her social media with references to criminality. In 2024, she was docked a month's pay for harassing and bullying Deputy City Manager Kevin Dickens. But this past February, a new integrity commissioner sided with Stevenson, determining that complaints about her moving a citizen's camera during a ward meeting was not a violation of council's code of conduct.
I would invite people to investigate a little deeper, to reach out to me and let me share with them the reports that the integrity commissioners wrote and my response to them. And I think it'll be very eye-opening to the public.
Also registered as mayoral candidates are incumbent Josh Morgan, Kirsten Crows, John Fair, and Lawrence Zachary Howe. The nomination period ends August 21st. Election day is October 26th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
A St. Thomas teenager has died after a lifelong battle with heart disease. It was an outcome his family had expected, motivating them to make sure his final months were filled with as much joy as possible. And as Brent Lale reports, it sure sounds like that was accomplished.
He was in my arms and Dad was at his side and he was ready to go. And he took 4 very peaceful, deep breaths and then passed.
Teenager Wesley Johnson of St. Thomas died Friday. We first introduced you to Wes and his family when they held a celebration of life in February, knowing he had just weeks to live. It kicked off a whirlwind couple of months, which included meeting the Toronto Blue Jays in spring training.
Oh, man. How you doing? What's your name?
And then becoming the first ever honorary cadet of the St. Thomas Police Service.
You know, he showed some admiration for the police, and I'm returning that admiration and respect back to him.
Not in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that the last, his kind of like 9th inning would have been such an exciting adventure.
However, in the last couple of weeks, Wes's health started declining rapidly.
During this entire process, Wes has been aware that he was going to pass away. And I always made him 3 promises, and he always had to repeat them back to me. So the 3 promises were, you will never be alone, I will never lie to you, and you will not be in pain. And I was able to keep those promises.
His story captivated people from coast to coast. Thousands donated to his family's fundraiser, which allowed him to have his dying wish of meeting the Blue Jays.
I can't even get through the messages. I can't get through the comments because there's just so many. And the tribute from Jamie Campbell last night was so beautiful. The St. Thomas police chief posted something about his passing, and it was just an incredible way to honor an incredible little boy who touched so many lives, and I'm so grateful that I got to be his mom.
Wesley will be cremated Monday and picked out a special Blue Jays urn for his ashes. Born with a congenital heart disease, he knew his life would be short. But in the last couple of months, he was able to accomplish things even he didn't realize he wanted.
He had a journey grander, I think, in 17 years than a lot of people have in, 80.
Wesley Johnson was 17. Brent Lale, CTV News.
When we come back, the latest hantavirus update. A third Ontarian now isolating after returning home from an infected cruise ship. Plus, a new research revealing Canadian travelers avoiding the U.S. at an even higher rate than previously reported. Welcome back. Canadian health officials say precautionary measures are now in place for passengers returning home from an infected cruise ship, which was locked down by a rare virus outbreak. With more on those efforts to contain the spread here and abroad, here's Heather Wright.
Most of the roughly 130 passengers aboard the MV Hondius have returned home or are in the process of getting there, including 4 Canadians who arrived in British Columbia after being flown from the Canary Islands on Sunday.
All 4 were and continue to be well and have no symptoms.
BC's top doctor Bonnie Henry says while strict isolation protocols were put in place aboard the cruise ship in early May, 2 passengers, an American and a French national, have tested positive for the virus since returning home, reinforcing the need for strict public health protocols during the incubation period.
We are all hoping that the 4 people who are here with us will remain well through this incubation period, but this is exactly why we are taking the precautions and why plans are in place should their conditions change.
Henry says the quarantine clock for the 4 Canadians started yesterday. They will quarantine for 21 days and be monitored for 42, the longest known incubation period for the virus, a rare rodent-borne pathogen that can cause serious illness in humans. 3 people have died since the deadly outbreak began aboard the Hondius, with at least 7 confirmed cases and 2 reported cases. More than 20 countries are now working to contain the spread of the virus, including Canada, where at least 10 people are being monitored. Today, Ontario's Minister of Health confirmed a 3rd person is now self-isolating in the province.
We have not seen any indication that they were in close contact and would become symptomatic.
Today, the ship's captain released a video praising the resolve of the passengers and the crew.
And I must commend my crew for the courage and the selfless resolve that they showed time and again in the most difficult moments.
And in a sign of just how quickly things can change, the World Health Organization says the French passenger who began experiencing symptoms on the flight back home is now in hospital in critical condition. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
New travel data shows for the first time in months, drivers crossing the U.S. border from Canada actually increased. However, air travel is still down significantly. And as Mike Lucatour reports, there's no indication that will change anytime soon.
Ottawa's Tulip Festival is a huge draw for tourists. These Montrealers used to take an annual trip to the New England coast, but since Canada-U.S. relations started to wilt, they're traveling domestically instead.
Stay in Canada and spend our money here, rather than encourage the American people who have this silly leader that they've got.
And it seems they're not alone. Researchers from the University of Toronto analyzed Canadian cell phone usage in the U.S. over a period of 2 years and found a median decline of 42%, more than the initial estimates of a 25% decrease. But that did include freight travel and Canadians who have to travel to the U.S. for work.
We think they're taking a lot more meetings at home in Canada on Zoom.
Researchers say it's even more apparent in some industries hit by the trade war.
You're seeing much less travel to places like Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's not a loss of tourist travel. That's a loss of trade-related travel related to the auto industry.
The new numbers from Statistics Canada show a slight uptick in cross-border traffic last month. In April, 1.8 million Canadians made return trips to the U.S. That's up 1.4% compared to the same month in 2025. It's the first time there's been an overall increase since December of 2024.
There will be those that will not travel to the U.S. no matter what, but I'm seeing many that had that attitude at the beginning are now softening and actually traveling now and going there also.
Despite that bump, Stats Canada numbers show when you compare April of this year to April of 2024, before cross-border tensions reignited, travel is down by 30%. Mike Lucouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Canadian health researchers have published a new study linking endometriosis to a slightly higher risk of birth defects. With more on the study's findings, here's Geneviève Beauchemin.
Christina Kasparian's long struggle with endometriosis has affected many facets of her life.
A delayed diagnosis wreaked havoc in my system, my nervous system, my immune system, my fertility, my career, everything.
1 in 10 women live with endometriosis, a chronic inflammation where uterine-like tissue grows outside the uterus. And in a new study, researchers looked into the risk of congenital anomalies in babies born to mothers with endometriosis, looking at birth defects like a cleft palate or anomalies including those of the cardiovascular or gastrointestinal systems.
We're not trying to alarm anyone. The risks are still really low. It's just helpful for clinicians to maybe monitor these patients a little bit more.
The study found 6.3% of babies born to women with endometriosis presented with an anomaly, as compared to 5.4% to other women. Anomalies overall are rare, and the difference is small. And it's not clear just why endometriosis may be a factor.
There might be an impact through an inflammatory pathway that can change the gene expression when a baby is developing.
And while experts say the study has limitations, it does provide insight on a disease that is underreported, often diagnosed too late.
This is a significant illness that can impact on the quality of a young woman or an older woman's life, and then the other issues with fertility. So yes, definitely is something that we need to do better in terms of the medical profession.
Experts say much more research needs to be done. Still, the study highlights the need for better prenatal care for those suffering with endometriosis. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
On the desk with Julie now, and as we were talking about earlier in the newscast about the severe weather we saw over the weekend, we're shifting our conversation more to temperatures as we talk about this forecast. The big story is cooler temperatures, cold even, as we get into tonight.
Yeah, frosty conditions, frost advisory in effect, and I took a look back at some of the records that were broken in the area. So this is London's records on May 11th, so that's today. So we have to go back to 1966 when it was -3. Now, as soon as we hit midnight and we head into tomorrow, those records, of course, changing. So taking a look at May 12th, and you can see the record of -4.4, and that was back in 1907. All right, let's take a look at conditions across our area. As the coming days, we will see warming conditions, as I mentioned. But overnight lows in London, -2, St. Thomas at -1, and Woodstock -2. Our high today, 12 degrees, our low temperature 4, comparing that with what's normal for this time of year. A normal daytime high is around 18 degrees. Let's take a look at our satellite radar. And yes, we do have some showers that are off to the east, and that rainfall continuing. But for us, it's just clear skies. We are under the influence, as I mentioned, of high pressure. That area of high pressure will be continuing to drift eastward. Sounds like we're having some issues with my mic, so we're going to get that fixed up. We'll keep going with your weather. But again, we do have that area of high pressure in place. Now, I am tracking a system off to the northwest, and with that system in place, we are seeing that's going to drop into the Great Lakes with a bit of rainfall. Okay, we're switching up mics, friends. And we've almost got her done there. Okay, hopefully we're back at it. Our low pressure area will drop into the Great Lakes with that rainfall coming in tomorrow afternoon. So overnight, -2 to -3 in and around London, Kitchener-Waterloo, and Mount Forest. Even a bit of a wind chill overnight. Now, along the lake shore, temperature this time of year, we get that lake influence, so we'll hold between 1 and 3 degrees, so not expecting frost in the lakeshore communities. Inland, where the temperature drops off, yes, we will see frost. So if you have some tender plants, you might want to cover those up. As we take a look across the country, Western Canada has been basking in warmth. Things are going to shift, the pattern shifting as we head into the long weekend. So we've been under this upper trough, which has allowed that cold air to push across the Great Lakes Basin. That upper trough will be pushing eastward, and we will start to see the warmth building in. So taking a look at our forecast tomorrow, there's that rain that comes in tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Possibility of some thunderstorms as we head into Tuesday night through the overnight early Wednesday. That line will come through, and temperatures will remain cool and below normal Tuesday, Wednesday into Thursday. Where things start to shift will be a Friday. It'll have you singing springtime weather just in time for the holiday weekend. So your forecast for tomorrow, 10 degrees at lunchtime. We start the day with full sunshine, and then by the afternoon, 13 degrees. Chance of showers and thunderstorms ramping up. We have light rain in the forecast on Wednesday at 15, 14 degrees on Thursday and cloudy, and then things shift. Now, I'm not going to lock in this weekend forecast yet. I still have lots of questions. So at this point, expecting a mix of sun and cloud as we head into Friday and Saturday. Now, Saturday night into Sunday, we could see some rainfall. Just slight probabilities. I am expecting the weekend forecast to change. So again, not locking in, but what you can lock in is some milder temperatures. So that's some good news. Daytime highs will climb between about 22 and 25 degrees over the holiday weekend. Midwestern Ontario, 12 degrees as we head into tomorrow. We start the day right across the region with sunshine, frosty first thing in the morning. By the afternoon, the clouds move in, showers and thunderstorms expected to develop. So a sunny start, and then we'll end the day with the rainfall. Chance of showers continues on Wednesday. Cool temperatures through the week, but warming on Friday under a mix of sun and cloud. In Carlyle, I mentioned lots of questions in my mind about the weekend forecast. There are a couple systems, so timing, but I will be nailing this down for you in the coming days. degrees. One thing I can tell you is it will be extremely warm in comparison to how cool it has been with overnight lows near the freezing mark. We really shift things as we head into the holiday weekend, which is perfect timing, I would say.
All right. Thank you, Julie. And thank you, Lisa, who was helping us out there with the mic issue behind the scenes as well. Still ahead, the nuclear boom in Bruce County, the industry's turnaround 25 years after new operators took over.
Every morning at 6:50, we take your confessions. You can text in anonymously with something that's on your mind or you need help with.
It could be anything, and we'll give you the worst advice you've ever heard. Just do the opposite every morning at 6:50.
Ontario's biggest country music festival is back for 2026. Enter online at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win a 4-pack of VIP tickets plus camping to Boots and Hearts at Burles Creek Event Grounds from August 7th to the 9th.
It's been 25 years since a watershed moment in Midwestern Ontario's economic history. As Scott Miller reports, at one point it looked like the end of nuclear energy in Bruce County until overseas investment changed everything.
Bruce Power is currently planning to add 4 more reactors to their 8-reactor fleet, making the Bruce Nuclear Station by far the largest nuclear station in the world. But 25 years ago, it was a very different story.
Units closing down, and it looked like there was not going to be a future for Bruce Nuclear, right? It looked like that was all coming to an end, and people had been moving out of our community.
Just 10 years after building and bringing online 8 nuclear reactors at the Bruce Nuclear Plant, Ontario Hydro decided in the mid-90s that due to a glut of available energy, they would shutter 4 of Bruce's reactors. The move gutted Midwestern Ontario, with many fearing a regional recession with thousands of jobs leaving Bruce County. Enter a British-based consortium in 2001 who swooped in, offering to lease and operate the Bruce nuclear fleet, with plans to immediately restart the shuttered reactors, keeping thousands of people employed.
You know, a lot of people didn't know what to expect, but there was a ton of optimism, and Bruce Power certainly has delivered on that.
Restarting shuttered nuclear reactors had never been done before, but House and a team of eager employees embarked on a decades-long journey that would see the Bruce Nuclear Station become whole again, with all 8 reactors operational again by 2012, saving jobs and really the entire nuclear station.
We didn't have the ability to do years of advanced planning and front-end planning like we do now. We literally came in, looked around, did assessments of the plant condition, and have figured out what work needed to be done and set a pretty aggressive target to get that work done.
Fast forward to today, Bruce Power has more than 4,000 employees and are in the midst of extending the life of most of their reactors until 2064, while also planning on adding 4 more reactors to their fleet.
Restarting units, getting back to our maximum potential, producing isotopes, establishing one of the largest infrastructure projects here in Canada, helping the phase out of coal. Really amazing to look back at that 25 years.
It shows every sign that the next 25 years are going to be even more prosperous than the last 25 have been.
In Bruce County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Today is the deadline to fill out census forms before officials start sending reminders. According to Stats Canada, reminder letters will be sent out to households that don't complete the form, and there may even be follow-up phone calls or in-person visits. And failing to complete the form at all could actually result in a $500 fine. The census is completed every 5 years. The information is used in population-based decisions on how public resources are allocated. The French version of The Simpsons, dubbed in Quebecois French, will continue.
Ici, Bart et Lisa Simpson.
The news was announced on social media by the Quebecois voices of Bart and Lisa Simpson. Officials with Bell Media and Disney have announced a new deal to air the series on Nouveau and Crave. Last year, Chorus Entertainment decided not to renew broadcast rights, meaning new seasons would only be available in European French. Thousands of fans later signed a petition to save the Quebecois version. CTV News is a division of Bell Media. Canada's main stock index was helped by gains in the basic materials sector. The TSX gained 61 points. In New York, the Dow added 95, the Nasdaq up 27. The Canadian dollar gained 1/10 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold fell $2 an ounce. Oil added $2.65 a barrel. Later on CTV News, a run for the mums. Local fundraiser supporting ovarian cancer research.
I'm Samantha Bala-Quinlan. I have been with Middlesex London Paramedic Service for just under 16 years now. I am a paramedic, but I am also currently the PAD, which is Public Access Defibrillator, and Public Education Coordinator. After I graduated from my undergraduate degree, I decided to try out paramedicine. I really enjoyed the fact that it was unpredictable. You still got to do medical, and you got to see people in different environments. The trauma can definitely happen. Witnessing it firsthand, experiencing other people's trauma with them. After a traumatic call, those individuals will sometimes be pulled out of service and go to our headquarters, where they get a post-call debrief, where they're able to talk with one of our peer support team, decompress, work through some of what might be bothering them, help support them, give them resources for future follow-up. The old school way of thinking in paramedicine was kind of suck it up, but the culture is changing. We have really promoted seeking assistance. We have peer support. We have different things to try to help us cope. It's no longer, this is what you signed up for. I think the crisis stabilization space will be quite beneficial to paramedics and all first responders. Having that safe private space with that confidentiality will really be able to be an added support. Right now, the hospital would be the main area to go to if somebody is in acute distress, mental health crisis, or increasing substance use issues. So having that space, it's an alternative to the hospital. So this space will give them 24/7 care or help, because crises don't happen on a timeline. They don't happen on a schedule. We will also have an ability for them to decompress, get professional help early, get a care plan, and just have that safe, quiet space to work through what's happening and get them to a safer area.
Police in the Toronto area say they're investigating a sudden death after a toddler fell from a high-rise. Police say they were called to the building in North York just after noon yesterday. The toddler was pronounced dead at the scene. Further details on the circumstances surrounding how the child fell have not been provided. A crash involving a motorcycle near Vancouver left the rider seriously injured and their bike dangling from a traffic light. The motorcycle can be seen hanging from above. The bike was propelled into the air after colliding with a car Saturday afternoon. According to police, the rider is expected to survive, and the person driving the car was not injured. Food security advocates are calling on the federal government to implement a national food waste reduction framework. That would include examining how best before and expiry dates are used. According to a report from Second Harvest, 46% of Canadian food is wasted, with nearly a quarter of that linked to confusion around labels. The report's authors want national food waste reduction targets established, a modernization of best before labeling, and investments in hunger relief charities so surplus food does not spoil. The cost of fuel is affecting May-long weekend preparations, especially for anyone who spends time on the water. Heather Wright has more on the broader economic impacts when a favorite summer activity gets too expensive.
Wet weather and high water have meant a slow start to the season at Kawartha Lakes Marina in Bobcaygeon, Ontario. Boats are being launched, but marina owner Chad Hinton says some clients are considering skipping this summer.
We have a few people that are on the fence about whether or not the boat may go in. Fuel prices and general cost of living.
Nationally, the average price of gas is hovering around $1.90 per litre, according to the CAA. 1 year ago, the national average was 131.8 cents a litre. The price of fuel at marinas is already higher than gas sold in town, and so what is an expensive hobby is becoming even costlier. Hinton says the price of gas won't stop many from getting out on the water, but it will force some to rethink their summer plans.
For the family of 4 that saves enough to go away for a week on vacation every year, if groceries have gone up and fuel has gone up, they definitely change what they're doing on vacation.
The cost of boating depends on a number of things: the size of the boat, tank size, speed, wind. And so while some are choosing to keep their boats in storage this summer, others say they will get out on the lake but make adjustments in other areas in order to save some money.
Barclay Elliott's boat is his cottage, and while he has no plans to keep it tied up this season, he is mindful of the high cost of gas.
What it may do is, instead of 10 trips, I'll do 9.
According to Transport Canada, more than 12 million Canadian adults participate in recreational boating each year, an industry that contributes roughly $5.6 billion to Canada's GDP. But the high cost of living and soaring gas prices could further impact an industry already experiencing uncertainty. Murray Hadfield sells boats in the Kawartha area, where clients have been forced to drastically reduce their prices.
They started advertising OBO, or best offer, and they still couldn't get action in the fall.
While gas prices might not soon return to where they were last summer, there is some hope that they will start to come down before this boating season is over. Heather Wright, CTV News, Bob Cajun, Ontario.
Another gorgeous photograph of a spring. Thank you so much, Peggy, for sending this one in. Clear overnight with frosty conditions. A frost advisory in effect, with the exception areas along the shoreline of Lake Huron and Lake Erie will stay above freezing. Sunshine to start your Tuesday, with showers moving in Tuesday afternoon. We have rain in the forecast on a Wednesday. Temperatures will remain cool through the rest of the week, but a rebound on the way by Friday.
President Donald Trump has rejected Iran's response to his latest proposal to end the war, a rejection he has now called totally unacceptable.
Everything we put forward in our proposed text consisted of reasonable and responsible demands and generous proposals.
Iranian officials now say the U.S. proposal amounted to surrender. They're demanding full control over the Strait of Hormuz, as well as an end to sanctions. In an interview with U.S. media, Israel's prime minister says the war on Iran is not over, and both the U.S. and Israel are trying to end Iran's nuclear ambitions.
How do you envision the highly enriched uranium will be removed from Iran?
You go in and you take it out.
With what? Special forces from Israel, special forces of the United States?
Well, I'm not going to talk about military means, but what President Trump has said to me, I want to go in there. And I think it can be done physically. That's not the problem. If you have an agreement and you go in and you take it out, why not? That's the best way.
The Israeli leader says it's critical Iran's nuclear infrastructure is dismantled to prevent the country from rebuilding its missile program. Iranian soccer officials say they will participate in the 2026 World Cup, insisting the host countries provide guarantees over the treatment of Iranian players and officials. Canadian authorities had denied entry to the head of Iran's Football Federation last week over his past ties to Iran's Revolutionary Guard, which is designated as a terrorist organization in Canada and the U.S. Iranian football officials have since asked for guaranteed visas for players, coaches, and officials before the tournament begins. The man accused of trying to assassinate President Donald Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner has pleaded not guilty. Cole Thomas Allen was arraigned in a Washington federal court today. Prosecutors say he opened fire while running through a security checkpoint, shooting a Secret Service officer who survived. Allen's attorneys have asked for a top Justice Department official to be disqualified from the case, arguing there is a conflict of interest because they were at the event. Canada is imposing new sanctions on Russia, accusing the Russian government of violating the rights of Ukrainian children.
Russia is stealing Ukrainian children, indoctrinating Ukrainian children, and refusing to return these children to their families.
Our Foreign Affairs Minister spoke in Belgium today in front of the International Coalition for the Return of Ukrainian Children. According to Global Affairs data, thousands of Ukrainian children have been deported or forcibly transferred since Russia first invaded in 2014. The new sanctions include 23 individuals and 5 entities, which federal officials say have been involved in these violations. Meanwhile, Ukraine's president thanked Canada, the UK, and the EU for those new sanctions. He posted online saying they must continue working together to bring all Ukrainian children home and ensure everyone behind these crimes is held accountable.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Finally tonight, a Mother's Day tradition here in London dating back more than 2 decades. The annual run raises money for ovarian cancer research. More than $3 million brought in since it launched 24 years ago.
I had a pain that seemed to be like it's in the springtime after working in the garden. I thought there's a pulled muscle I'm ignoring, but it wasn't going away, so I went to the doctor to have it checked out, and sure enough, they told me the diagnosis was not good. Well, I was at stage 2, so I was caught still at an early stage, so I was lucky that way.
We've actually discovered some really new things about this disease. Ovarian cancer research has really exploded over the last 10 or 15 years, especially in Canada, and our research is really focused on trying to understand how this disease spreads, and that's because ovarian cancer, most patients are diagnosed when the disease is already spread or metastasized. But the research has come a long way over the last couple of decades, and we're coming up with new therapeutics to better treat very specific types of ovarian cancer, and that's definitely, we're coming a long way in terms of improving those survival rates.
May we all be survivors graced with time to live our dreams and create our tomorrows. May we all know the value of the run and everything we do to contribute to finding a cure.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.